So I made a skit about how playing warrior felt, at least for a first job, and I wanted to make a bit of a more like, I guess, serious video or like a follow up on where I talk about like my actual thoughts playing a warrior through at least first and second job mostly. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So I guess the most notable thing kind of goes with how they designed like the early game struggle. Like potions and meso income are, well, meso income is really low and potions are expensive. And I think this has the biggest effect on warriors as well as bandits because we both of the melee classes don't really have a way to avoid the damage. Like there's only like you can kind of dance around the enemy, but the main point I have for that is like there are some ways to dance around the enemy when there's like not too many, but playing a warrior, I feel like you shouldn't have to act as like a matador where you're like baiting the enemy. Oh, come this way, let me dance around him, and so I don't take any hits. And I think like most games, like playing a warrior is not. That's not really what playing a warrior is. Like you should be able to tank some hits if you need to. Whereas in this, it just feels like any hit you take is just, oh well, my wallet's burning. So I guess that kind of leads into the topic of what is it? It leads into the topic of like defense, which really feels like it hardly does anything at like most level ranges. So when I was playing this warrior, I was using I didn't like buy any armor pieces until like 20 to 25 levels in, because it didn't feel like it actually did anything. Like it honestly feels like the only reason to buy armor pieces is so that you can get like the offensive stats that they have, like if it has strength or dex. Because other than that, like I did not notice damage reduction like much at all. In fact, like the only armor piece that actually seems to really do anything is a shield. And yeah, I have a little bit of a problem with that as well. So I guess for shields, it does feel like warriors are kind of punished for like choosing between a shield or like a two-handed weapon. Like the shield does have like a higher guard chance for warriors, which is good, but it does lower your damage by like quite a lot, not being able to use a two-handed weapon. And yeah, that was, I guess, part of the reason why I was not able to one-shot the snail at like those levels in the skit. But it does feel like as a warrior, you have to make a trade-off between, oh, do I want to use a shield or do I want to do more damage? Because all the other classes that can use a shield, they basically just get the benefits for free, right? Without thinking. They all use like one-handed weapons, so bandits and mages get the blocking ability from the shield. Whereas if you use a two-handed weapon as a warrior, you're dealing more damage, but you no longer have that blocking ability. And if you do choose to go for a shield, your damage is significantly lower. So it just feels a little bit unfair that like you have to make that trade-off, but other classes don't. And I know like balance-wise, obviously it's not everything's going to be the same, but just didn't like sit right with me like that. I guess another thing about First Job Warrior is it's already like the most inconsistent class in terms of damage if you're not using a sword, because of the swing patterns. Like the damage range is already very wide, but like the issue of not using a sword kind of exacerbates that even further, right? Because you have the two swing patterns. So like I'm using a polearm right now, if I slash like that, I deal basically my full damage, and if I stab like that, I deal like significantly less damage, which was a design choice that they made back then. So I'm not asking them to remove that, but it just makes your damage feel so inconsistent if you're not using a sword early on. And I guess going into that a bit further, I feel like the mastery paths for all three classes, so fighter, page, and spearman, they all have one that's like pretty much objectively better. For spearman, although the movement speed I did like coming from the polearm, let you get to places faster. I think the crit rate from spear mastery is just a lot better, and because you go from having like barely any crit rate, I think you have like 9%, and full mastery gives you 20%, so that's huge. Whereas like, yeah, the polearm movement speed is good, but it's just not as impactful when you're actually fighting. And then for fighter and page, one of the things that I don't like is that sword is just strictly inferior, because sword is the most consistent option, right? It has the same damage profile whether you swing or stab, so but the mastery gives defense, which is kind of useless like I said earlier. So it's almost like if you want consistent damage from picking a sword, it's almost like you're punished for doing that. Like if you don't want to deal with RNG from stab swing or stab slash, like you get this drawback of the mastery not really doing anything, because the axe mastery gives like bleed for fighters, I believe, and for blunt weapons for page it gives like a chance to ignore defense, so it just significantly increases like the amount of damage that you do. So I think, I mean, it is a trade-off in that way, where you're trading consistency for, I guess, higher damage potential in a way. But I just feel like for all three warrior branches in second job, I do feel like there should be some choice to be made, because it almost feels like, what's the point of putting into one of these masteries, because the other one is just almost objectively better, and it's only offset, well, for spearman it kind of is, but for the other two it's only offset by the fact that you might have some inconsistent damage. And I guess further continuing that topic, just since I was playing a spearman, no option to pick a shield, it did feel like if I wasn't 2-hit KOing or 1-hit KOing monsters, it did feel like I would be losing money when training at that specific spot, because I would just end up taking so much damage. So it did feel like the amount of maps that were viable just comes down to whether or not you can 1 or 2 shot the enemy. Whereas I think a lot of the other classes had a bit more choice in where they wanted to train. Now, I guess on a positive note, I didn't play so on a positive note, the accuracy was, I did not have any problems with that at all. And I went with like essentially a 4:1 strength to dex ratio the entire time. So basically the only times I was missing enemies was if I was like probably at least like 2 levels lower than they were. And it's not like I missed like all the time. But yeah, I really did not have any issues with the accuracy. I know that was like a big problem for the first online test, where people were just missing constantly. And I think for warriors, you had to like almost go full dex just to hit stuff. So it's definitely good that they changed that, and that was well done by the team to fix that. I guess for second job warrior, I did want to talk about final attack quickly because does feel like final attack is overall quite good. Like at least for a spearman, I don't know if final attack is different for the other two classes, but final attack for spearman heals you, and it does do a good amount of damage. Like I think it was like essentially another power strike, so you can, and it's for free, but with a 20% chance. So one thing is mostly good. There are a few situations where I guess you wouldn't want it to proc. I guess the only one that kind of comes to mind right now is like, let's say there's a group of enemies and you're kind of slash blasting through them. Like you slash blast them and they all get kind of low, and then you proc final attack, and it only hits one of them. So the other, you get inevitably like damage from like them running into you. So so basically, yeah, you would have rather not proc than just used another slash blast instead. But yeah, I think final attack was overall pretty good. It does feel a little bit janky because you do get animation locked, and every time it procced, it just like felt a little bit weird. Like you're not, I don't think I'm ever gonna get used to it. Like I have it turned off right now because I don't need it, but yeah, every time it procced, I'm just like, oh, I can't move my character, so I don't know if they're gonna do anything to improve it. But like I said, final attack overall I felt was pretty good. The only thing is if there's like some boss that you're doing and you get animation locked, that could put you in some bad situations. So not sure if they plan to do anything to improve that. So I know in this video I like kind of complained a lot about Warrior, but I did enjoy playing it. Right? I think like part of it is like I knew coming into it that Warrior like first and second job is a struggle, so like it was not entirely unexpected. But I honestly did have some fun trying to like maximize my meso efficiency, even though like I said that's not really how a warrior should play. You shouldn't be like trying to play like a matador. I don't think. I still like enjoyed the like trying to do as much as I can with warrior, and I think when the game actually launches, I'm not going to be playing warrior first, but I'm definitely going to give it another try as like one of my other classes. So yeah, these are just like some of my like thoughts on playing warrior. I know there's a lot more like, it feels like there's a lot more negatives to it, but like I said, I still really enjoyed playing it, and I think yeah, I'll play it again during launch at some point. I did get a chance to test third job a little bit, but I need to kind of go back and look at it to see, like, I need to compare like stuff like damage and range and things like that. So I don't have any like, I don't want to make any like uninformed opinions on third job warrior yet. But yeah, it seems like everyone is pretty happy with DK third job, so that's good. I don't know as much about the other two classes. I played them very briefly, but yeah, I might take a look at the footage and like maybe come to some conclusions based on that. But I don't want to make like too many uninformed opinions on that yet. So yeah, so this has kind of been like my experience playing a warrior in the closed beta. Like I said, had a lot of fun. playing it despite all my, I guess, problems with it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a thumbs up. Like I said in some of the other videos, I really enjoy making these unscripted videos, and would love to make more of them. Just because I think I do want to see like what my if I just had to give my perspective on something, what just naturally comes out rather than like kind of thinking long and hard about it and like I guess engineering the script in a way. So yeah, would love to make more of this type of content. So if you guys enjoy, I have a lot more video ideas. So thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.